welcome back. You are still tuned in to Fantastic Fridays, and you know we're here with you every single Friday when you're Friday, and all the Friday them when on your Friday. Don't ask me no question because I don't have the answer. From 5 p.m. till 8 p.m. Alright? And from here that song, you know it is time to talk the Ting with Kim. Alright? So for today, we're gonna have a discussion about the importance of building your self-esteem. And for me, this conversation came from two instances that happened recently, right? So one was a little boy around me recently. We're just having a regular conversation, and then he out of the blue said, I wish my skin was lighter so I'd look good.
Oh.
He said that. And I was like, what you just say? Him say, yeah. I said, like he whispered, he said low though, you know. And him say, yeah, I wish my skin was white so I would look good.
Like
so
he's thinking out loud.
Yeah, so I was like, why you think you don't look good? I went to a whole conversation, right? And that spurred that for me. And then another thing I remember seeing is this little girl, her about 5 or 6, and look like her mother taught her something about, you know, embracing your skin and stuff. So she did this whole poem about it, and people were admiring it. I was like, oh my God, I wish, you know, I had that confidence in my skin when I was younger, because they never embraced their skin, their dark skin, until they were in their 20s, some say in their 30s. And I realized that this thing is actually a bigger thing than we think. It's not only about your skin, because there's so many things that we don't have self-esteem regarding, right?
Yeah.
But those two instances of our skin just spark the whole thing of self-esteem, right? So I just have to give you all a background, as I always do, tell you where it's coming from and why I chose to do this topic, all right? So before we even get any further, when I know you're seeing some lovely faces on the live that you may not have seen before, I'm gonna allow them to say just good evening and just introduce yourself. First name is fine, you know, just to let people know we're not just out here inviting people. So those
We have some lovely people here. So if you think that you're not in that group, don't
Send
blame
the
us.
faces that you have not seen before.
and the faces you always see, right? Because we're not in a bad by that. But yes, introduce yourself. I'm gonna say good evening.
Yeah. Starting with the gentleman on the left.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Daniel Maxam on the air.
Alright.
Hope you guys having an amazing night, and don't worry, we're going to make it a little better.
Look
This
at
man I
that.
like him a brain flight treaters. Let's be fair, crash landing.
Right?
Yeah.
Alright, and then the lovely lady beside him.
Good afternoon, I'm Ebony.
Right? And guys, you don't even understand how much that took for her to do that, okay?
Yeah. That's it for her for today. Yeah.
That was her building up herself this whole time.
Alright.
And then the lovely face right beside me.
Picking out my daughter.
Lovely, in a lovely way, right?
It's Jada.
Okay, I know you feel better now, right? Alright, so guys, the importance of building your self-esteem. So before I even get into the conversation, when you hear self-esteem, what comes to mind?
Start with the person on the left.
So anybody can start.
Well, I said on the left, so...
I don't know my left from my right.
Wow.
Internal value.
Mhm.
You have to know what's your worth. Most time people just look at self-esteem as a physical aspect. I believe self-esteem covers not just the physical but also the mental and emotional.
Okay.
Yeah. So
Cover everything still.
That is
Does everybody agree with that? Have anything else to add to that?
But I like how he mentions because as you say, most people when they say self-esteem, first thing we jump for is, oh, you look how you appear, you know. Be happy with who you are, but
Yeah.
the mental part of it sometimes is basically you have to mentally empower yourself in a kind of sense. Yeah.
I mean, the word self is in there, so it's definitely about you.
Yeah. But it's not only the physical, as was highlighted.
It's all the inside too.
Ah.
So just might get project a little bit so the person's on the camera.
Yes.
That's fine. We hear you
No, we
on
can't hear
the radio,
you.
but you know.
Just ensure person's on the live.
Yeah.
But you guys are not far off at all, so let's get into it. It's easy to discount the importance of having high self-esteem, because some people here are like, why you need to have a high self-esteem, right? However, having positive personal regard can be the difference between feeling good and taking care of yourself and not, right? So we've all likely heard the advice to believe in yourself, value yourself, be your own cheerleader, and that you can't fully love others until you love yourself. And all of that is true. But what exactly does that really mean in real life? It's always good to hear it tonight. It's so nice. It sounds all, oh my God, I'm empowered. I'm my own cheerleader.
Yeah.
You know, I value
got
myself.
my back.
Exactly. We can all say it, but what really does it mean? Essentially, it means that having a high self-esteem is vital to a successful and happy life. Do we agree with that?
Well, I mean,
So before we even go further, do we think that is linked somehow?
I think it is, because in my head, with the question I asked you earlier was that is self-esteem the same thing as having self-love?
Mm-hmm.
So I mean, if it's not,
we have voices coming.
We hear voices.
so but once you have that high self-esteem, I think maybe
You have a bit of you have self-love
you
as
have
well.
a little bit of something, so you're not easily strayed, or nothing can really get to you that much. You know, it's not. And if it does, like people say something to you, it's not. You can brush it off and you keep it.
All right, I see some context clues that actually it's not very far from what I have. So don't make the way things are, yeah?
My concern though,
Yeah.
is can you actually, like, you know, like you play a Super Nintendo game and you play 0 the level, can you actually master self-esteem?
You can.
Because I find that usually I have these persons, they have self-esteem coaches and all these people, and when you check it out, they have low self-esteem too.
No, you
Yeah.
can, based on my research, which
Yeah.
we'll get to, you can, but mastering it is not what you would imagine it is.
Oh, okay.
Most people think mastering self-esteem is perfection. It's not perfection. It's not being so good at it that nothing bothers you. But we'll get into that, right?
Alright, because I want to figure out.
But we're gonna get into that. So before we go any further, let's define self-esteem. Self-esteem is your subjective sense of overall personal worth or value. Similar to self-respect, it describes your level of confidence in your abilities and attributes. So as I said, Daniel, not just your physicalness or physicality, it's also your attributes, what you bring to the table. You know, the question when people ask you, what do you bring to the table? That's a part of self-esteem, right?
Your entire package.
Yeah. The food what you bring to the table. I mean, after somebody pay for it, right?
No,
I mean, know how she work, you know. That's what I say. After somebody pay for it and she pick it up, cause we know Jada, right? We know Jada. But having a high self-esteem can influence your motivation, your mental well-being, and your overall quality of life, right? Having too high or too low of a self-esteem as well can be problematic. So that's one of the things. I think most time people think about low self-esteem and forget that there's also too high of a self-esteem, which sometimes, you know, results in people claiming it to be like you're a bit delusional or something, or you think you're the hottest things in sliced bread, and nothing to back it. They just feel so.
I mean,
you know,
probably they have something to back it, but they don't have to be, you know, hotter than this.
Sometimes there's nothing there, sir.
So that's why I was saying that self-esteem
Is not the same as self-love
self-worth.
and self-worth. Exactly.
Self-worth is just believing that you're enough to exist.
Exactly.
Without anything at all. But esteem has to do with your abilities and your value, what you can do and what you achieve.
That's not what I said though.
Nobody said you said that.
Nobody said
He's
that.
saying
He said
something new.
no to when I asked.
Oh, she said self-love. That's
But
what
he
she
said no, but he's saying all three are different.
Exactly. I'm
Jada.
touching on it.
So fix your face. Put a smile on.
Continue, Keith.
Just to agree why I believe not to be overly confident and too much self-esteem, but also you need a reasonable amount of self-esteem, is that without it you're going to lack the ability to want to do anything, meaning to talk to a new partner, to get a new
Present something at work.
like a
probably.
job. So you still need self-esteem to achieve. So they have to be linked, because the low self-esteem, you're going to lack motivation, lack drive, and
That's gonna bring down your self-worth eventually.
So,
I sort of feel like Daniel did read my research before.
No, I thought he brought him here for this.
Like-
This man have a book written about.
Like,
But here's my question though, Kim.
Yeah.
You mentioned something up to people. I mean, I'm kind of the maths person. I like to analyze and get value to things. You mentioned low self-esteem. You have high self-esteem.
Yeah.
Too high self-esteem. But you know what level self-esteem you at? Is it like a 7? Am I at a 5?
Alright, so that's what we're going to get to very shortly, right? So before we even get to that, better understanding what your unique level of self-esteem is can help you strike a balance that is just right for you, which alludes to what you just said, right? But before we get to that as well, some key elements of self-esteem include self-confidence, feelings of security, identity, sense of belonging, and feeling of competence. So you see, we're showing that it's wider than just physical, as it was actually tying to what MV just spoke about. Your abilities, what you offer, what you bring to the table, all of those stuff. So I'm saying feeling like you belong, that you don't feel like, okay, I'm an imposter here, or oh, why did even somebody assign me to this class because I'm way below everybody else, stuff like that, right?
So the group that says that they are fully done, they're already portraying low self-esteem.
Already, right? So as we've spoken before, as we've said in the past.
Just said, if you just mentioned competence, how capable of you?
Exactly, and are they bragging?
What you need to do.
But guess what? It's not. Is that really low self-esteem though? Because they're bragging that them fully done. So they're confident.
Confidence in your low self-esteem.
One could argue that they know what they can and cannot do, and they probably don't bring smartness to the table.
And that's knowing that you cannot do anything.
I'm proud of it.
And be proud.
I'm telling you.
Low self-esteem. Because if you're saying that me can't do nothing, somebody with high self-esteem or decent level of self-esteem would try to learn to do something.
That's what should happen.
I said, don't care. That don't sound like you have good.
So those are some of the reasons I don't support also the Jamaican songs, because I feel like the messages that are being put out there, it not really do nothing for nobody. Then probably sound good musically. Yeah, it not help.
Just all the things that you need to build up a high self-esteem.
Exactly. If anything, it's probably doing the opposite, right? But that's a whole different topic.
No,
Can you have false belief in your self-esteem?
Yeah, you can.
Because there are people out there that will do something bold and brave and confident and lack completely what they're doing. It's
True.
not even good whatsoever.
Yeah.
Wrong and strong?
Correct.
Okay.
Correct. So there is a bit of falsehood in there.
Yeah, you can, because as we said, probably being confident in the whole fully done thing.
Yeah.
You know, that's like why are you confident in that?
Yeah.
It
And
makes sense.
class mentality.
So, and to touch on some of the stuff that you guys said earlier, other terms often used interchangeably with self-esteem include self-worth, self-regard, and self-respect, right? So, self-esteem tends to be lowest in childhood years and increases during adolescence.
I think mine is reversed. I don't know. Because I was great as a child. I could do anything.
Well, this is a norm. Not saying this is a blueprint for everybody,
You ain't
but the norm.
You're not normal.
No, I don't like what you said. I'm unique. That's what we're looking at.
But it's the norm, right? So for most persons, you know, in your childhood years, you struggle a bit more because you're trying to find self and understand self. In your adolescence, you probably are trying to get accepted, you know? And then probably in adulthood, you start realize, hey, y'all not that serious. Why am I trying to please y'all? Right? It's that actually for you.
These adults,
right?
Please everybody.
No, some are still in that.
I think the world is like we gone on a tangent now. Like everybody just doing the weirdest things. Like we usually say, you know, be confident in yourself, do your thing. You know, don't let nobody sway you from.
Yeah.
Right now we're easily
Everything
influenced.
blow, everybody blew in every
If
direction.
one person the power where we stop doing all for the right thing, you know.
You stop because you feel like you're being judged.
Yeah,
but I think social media has a part to
yeah,
do with
we
that
get
because
so-
we've opened up ourselves to judgment and all of that. And that is what, and we use that as external validation to basically say you do something right, or you're on the right path, or you're at the right point in life for your age and all of those things, right? So we are guilty of it. I think social media is a huge
We
contributor.
also look towards it to see how best, like, I think that gauges or success.
That should be our meter.
That shouldn't be a meter.
It's not, but
'Cause guess what?
If we take a stop and look, the people in my generation. Oops, sorry, I said our. The people in
Hold on.
We're gonna go to the break. When we're back, Jada might not be with us. But
What do you mean I might not?
she
What do
might
you mean I might not?
She might be heading home early.
Right about now, the mic. You don't see the mic shift. You don't see the mic. Listen, you know what? I can't continue the show. My self-esteem has been shot. Right? I cannot.
But yeah, that's cool off there.
Listen, I don't want your generation to consume.
I love you.
No, for real. But
Alright,
guys,
we're back.
so yes, we're not going to go to Jada's comments. Right, but for real though, as we said earlier, some key elements of self-esteem include self-confidence, feelings of security, identity, sense of belonging, and feeling of competence, right? And we also said that self-esteem tends to be lower in childhood and increases during adolescence as well as adulthood, eventually reaching a fairly stable and enduring level, right? So 4 key characteristics of a healthy self-esteem are a firm understanding of one's skills, so you understand yourself when you get, you're not trying to be something that you're not, you're not trying to develop some things that's
right.
nothing for the video.
Me an artist.
Yeah, cause me probably know say me an artist, me not good really run down a lane and not try to prove say me an
Some of
artist.
them on the Rising Star auditions and
Yes,
stuff.
because they believe in themselves. The false self-esteem, right?
Who told you it was false?
In that case,
In
I'm
their
looking at their
mind.
friends. Friends should be
To
giving
them.
guidance to say, probably,
Just singing under your
We're gonna have a whole conversation about friends,
Kids,
right?
listen to me right now about 4 different subtopics for us to talk
From this one
This line of
conversation. But another characteristic is the ability to maintain healthy relationships with others as a result of having a healthy relationship with yourself.
Give me a mashing up the whole show because right now everybody toxic.
Yeah,
Kim.
man.
Who
Snaps.
is
See you
everybody?
today, block it tomorrow.
Exactly.
No.
Oh, this is like right now I know this friend. Oh, this is my new boo. I'm gonna say, yeah. Next week, someone say, oh, this is no, I don't know that person. Like people nowadays, they don't maintain relationships, and I'm not talking about friendship. Like
No.
they will introduce people as this are the blue, and then this are no like
No,
my brother,
because-
my wife for this, And next week they say,
A part of it is because we're now in a generation that brags, a generation that brags about cutting off people,
Yeah, like-
We're around for cut off, and that is a part of the problem.
I think we need a whole.
So we have a whole subtopic again.
We'll go out there the world. We'll go to the
Before
Jamaica.
I was cut
Tone by
off.
tone, Kim.
Hold on, what?
Tone.
Before you were what?
I was cut off.
Okay, yeah.
Ghosted.
Ghosted.
And the mic removed, muted.
Oh, yeah, sorry.
No wonder why we're not here. Right? Go on.
So before that, I was saying that in our generation, where we see, people are going out there, they're living their lives, and you're seeing everything, it is put on us as if this is the way how it should be.
A blueprint.
The blueprint has been set. So whether it's relationships, lifestyle, your choices, eating healthily, wearing clothes, fashion, this is how it should be.
And if your version don't look so,
Don't
then,
look like this.
You don't reach
Then
nowhere.
what are you doing?
Yeah.
What are you really doing with
But
your
that
life?
ties into the next characteristic, which is realistic and appropriate personal expectations, right? And the last one
Of
is
self?
Yeah, man. This
These
is the
are
4
all
key
self.
characteristics of a healthy self-esteem. So you have realistic and appropriate personal expectations, and an understanding of one's needs and the ability to express those needs. So if you understand what you need, right?
Like
And you also have to be able to express it, because knowing it is one thing, but if you can't say it.
Kimmie just rule out all of the women them, like 99%.
Hold on, sir. Why is it all of the women them?
Because you mentioned the 2 things. Go again, what are the 2 things?
The last 2 things?
No, the last point mentions 2 things.
Oh, okay. And knowing
what you
or
need
having an
expressing it.
understanding of your needs
and express
and the
it.
ability to express it.
Excuse me, dear. What you want for lunch?
That's a low blow.
Right? Right?
We got a lot of estrogen over there.
Thank
That's a
you.
low blow.
Listen, I think they forget sometime, but a 3 to 3 still. Usually we outnumber them,
Yeah.
but yes.
But trust me, I know men have that side as well. But ladies kind of lead, especially because food are one of the things we talk about throughout the day. I didn't know what I want.
But we explained that to you once. No, but we explained that to you
tell you
once.
that we're hungry.
We explained the reason once. We said it's dependent on some of us are just trying to be considerate of you. Sometimes we know what we want, but we don't want broke your pocket. We know you feel some type of way. That can be one thing.
Yeah, that's
Another thing, it made that maybe that what we want is also the way, and you might go feel like you want if you go drive out
Yeah, but Kimmie.
so we say, alright, you know what, we're putting the ball in your court to make things easier. Other times we consider
women will try to find another way to do it. So instead of saying we're not hungry or we're hungry and we don't know what we want, we'll ask you, what do you want? And then after you say you don't know, we'll give you an idea.
You think,
and then we can gauge it from there. But there's no like.
No, we tried.
We don't know what we
before.
want.
I mean, if you ask ladies what they want, they say they don't know. Our response is, alright, I'm gonna get some KFC. Again?
No, hold
The place there.
in my head, when I say I don't know,
They're
it's
gonna
two
give you something like
options.
this. It's weird.
either
No, Jada, you're different. And we know you live at KFC. We're not talking about you. And then really and truly, I've asked Jada already what she want.
And she don't
give
know.
me the same answer, she don't know. But probably if she see the KFC passing, she'll, that would help her decision.
KFC 10-piece wings.
Exactly. That will help her.
Popcorn and
But I'm sure she has driven past KFC several times looking for food to eat. Because she wants something different, but she don't know what it is.
And I end up back at KFC.
And then probably
Well.
after the 1,000-mile drive. But trust me, I think all these things that you're mentioning, Kim, we are gravely affected by
Yeah, man, we're very much guilty of
Hold
it.
on, no.
shows a lot in the
I
society
think
nowadays.
it's a little bit different now. It's from versus food versus relationships, right? So food, yeah, maybe we might not know what we want to eat all the time, but sometimes I think I might be wrong. Maybe going into a relationship, you know certain things that you're looking out for, certain things that you want, certain things that you want done, versus what you don't want. So you know you don't want a man that's going to cheat. You know you don't want a lady that's going to be out there every night.
She want everything.
So you know those things. It's gauged.
But you know, as much as you say that, as about self, much as you say that, all people don't know what they want.
No, but here's the thing, Kim. I'm telling you, we see it in society. A young man goes up to a young lady, hi, how you doing? Where you work? Because my man have to work. My man have to work top paying job. And they tell her she wants a hard working man. He's this kind, loving, whatever. Check her 2 months later, she pregnant by somebody with none job, none of this.
Hold on.
Kim.
Hold on.
These are real topics.
Hold on, guys. We gotta go back to the topic. We gotta go back to the topic. First of all, Lionel.
Hold on.
Who hurt you?
No, it's not about who hurt me. No, she was saying that the confusion lies in food, but not with their choices of men and relationships. And I'm saying it happens to us in relationships as well. People always point out what they want.
We can't do
But
it.
in the end, you see that their choices don't match up with what they declare.
So many
Guys,
that
things
shows
that
that
you
our
can say about
issues
women and men
lies
in
within
regards, so
how we
there's
value
no
ourselves,
We always say that.
how we see ourselves, and what we want for ourselves. We might say, oh, this is good, I'm proud, I'm ambitious, but your choice is not reflecting that, and that goes back to all these things Kimmie mentioned.
So, and that is why we're going to go back to self-esteem, because I think we have all the subtopics that we really can't go.
Yeah.
But I just want to keep you all on the same page, right? But I'm gonna go a bit into low self-esteem, right? People with low self-esteem tend to feel less sure of their abilities and may doubt their decision-making process. They may not feel motivated to try new things, as you said earlier. I remember saying something about new things. Right, because they don't believe they can reach their goals. Those with low self-esteem may have issues with relationships and expressing their needs, as Lana just said. They may also experience low levels of confidence and feel unlovable and unworthy. Now, people with overly high self-esteem may overestimate their skills. And you know what I think of? The one athlete who our auntie guitaring.
Oh yeah. I think she just wanted to go for it.
I think her auntie just said her, but still.
I doubt she was expecting to.
Fine.
She was.
Maybe she didn't overestimate her skills in that one.
She just showed up.
Skipped across the finish line. She
Yeah.
was very confident.
She was happy.
with her performance.
Right.
And then you have people who feel entitled to success. Not they have to work for it, but they feel like, I'm all that.
I showed up, so I should be paid.
Exactly. And even without the ability to back up their belief in themselves. So you know the skill, but you're still a walk around like you're the body still, right?
Yeah.
They may struggle with relationships as well and block themselves from self-improvement because they're so fixated on seeing themselves as perfect. So as far as they're concerned, they're nothing for work on. Nothing for work on, like what are you gonna improve when this is perfection? That's literally how they think. That's actually one of the words that are gonna come up, right? So before we go to the break, let's go back to self-esteem for a bit. Low self-esteem may manifest in a variety of ways. If you have low self-esteem, you may believe that others are better than you. You may find expressing your needs difficult. You may focus on your weaknesses. So instead of what is going right for you, you're focusing on all the things that are not going right for you. You may frequently experience fear, self-doubt, and worry. I'm guilty of that. You may have a negative outlook on life and feel a lack of control. You may have trouble accepting positive feedback. So when somebody that compliments you, because let's say physical, someone might tell you, say, boy, you come out today, and in your mind, nobody can tell you
that's a lie.
It's going to change your mind because you already don't have that belief in yourself. So you could look good looking more or not, that person might not get changed. You may have trouble saying no and setting boundaries. You may put other people's needs before your own, and you may struggle with confidence, right? So low self-esteem has the potential to lead to a variety of mental health disorders, including anxiety disorders and depressive disorders. Now, it's also important to note that having a low self-esteem doesn't mean that you're depressed. It's two different things, right? Two completely different things. One can actually lead to the other, which is a low self-esteem can lead to depression, but they're not the same thing, right? You may also find it difficult to pursue your goals and maintain healthy relationships. So having low self-esteem can seriously impact your quality of life, and it increases your risk of experiencing suicidal thoughts, all right? So we're gonna go to the break. When we get back from the break, we're going to continue this conversation. But I feel like we've touched on a lot so far. Like, guys, as I always say, it's also information, but I hope at least one thing sticks with you, right? So we're going to come back after the break and finish this conversation on the importance of building your self-esteem.
Believing in myself. You have it. Oh, kill it. Come on, kill it. Half a believe.